Before we begin, thank you very much to The Repaint Addict has returned. Give me repaints for joining the Patreon campaign. Yeah, The Repaint Addict is a thing. They've been on this channel off and on many times. Thank you for coming back. You're in luck. There is a major thing for involving repaints in this video. So we're going to be discussing that amongst other things. So what you see before you is an event done in Japan that was basically all Project T-Spark based. Basically giving us like a quick update on this whole project that Takara has been doing. And it's pretty intense. We got some really cool things you can get a bit of a look at here, but we're going to go into detail on everything. So we're going to start with just the basic stuff, because they did just show off a few things, mostly just to show, yeah, they're coming out in Japan at some point. The Age of Extinction Optimus Prime for Studio Series, I will admit, in this light is looking better. I still think that gray is way too flat and is not doing it any favors. That might honestly just be the design of the character more than the toy itself, so maybe I shouldn't be blaming it. It looks fine. It looks fine. I'm hoping in person it looks better. I'm not going to be tempted to grab it, but hey, good for the Bayverse fans getting that, like, you know, like that alternate take on Optimus Prime out there. Some other ones. The Studio Series Constructicon's main appearance. There is Scrapper. And I know everyone is going to harp on the fact that his arms look so hollow, especially his upper arms. Like, okay, look, I'm sorry. Like, these toys have to do so much. The budget's got to go somewhere. So, you know what? It's fine. Doesn't bother me, really. I'm not going to make fun of Scrapper's hollow shoulders. I am going to make fun of Bone Crusher's flat forearms. It looks like his arms are made of gas tanks. It's amusing. The sacrifices and the design things that they had to do just to make sure that these Constructicons worked and could work within the current budget for Transformers. But the overall package looks like it's going to turn out good. So I'm going to forgive a few oddities here and there. Doesn't really bother me too much. They showed off a bunch of other things. They showed off the TF1 Studio Series toys. You know, the ones that won't be due out until well after the movie is dead. In all facets. But, you know, what happened to the days when a new movie would launch and the entire toy line would have already been out on stores for a month? What happened to that? What happened to that? Why is it a slow trickle now? Why is it like I have to wait till autumn to get a hold of Elita 1? I don't understand. They're looking nice, though. You know, it's nice to see the Sentinel and his sample sticker on his chest. Let's get into some of the fresh things. We'll start with Masterpiece, where we get a good look at Masterpiece Rat Trap. When we saw the initial photos, I thought they had just sculpted his whiskers in onto the sides of the rat head. Oh no, they are their own individual whiskers, which is kind of awesome. That's actually a really cool little job. Yeah, like, he looks good. Like, here, the close-up gives you a lot better look at things like his little nails that are all individually painted. The eyes are doing a really good job representing the animation model. In the official photos, I think we're going to show this off on the news roundup on Monday. The thing that impresses me the most is that not only can this stand up the way Rat Trap often did in the cartoon, but there's extra parts so that his rat head can not only face forward while standing up, but all this on the back side of his head closes. He's got extra parts just for that. I really want to know how this toy works. And there we have him in the robot mode with a whole bunch of stuff piled up on his back. I'm never quite sure if the backpack is folded up correctly. I kind of feel like the production images that we saw, I kind of get the feeling that those are better folded than this. Also, you might notice the rat head on the chest is fake. So the rat head for beast mode is somewhere in there. I don't entirely know where, but it's not the one on his chest, that's for sure. This guy is about deluxe size, like large deluxe size from what I've gathered. You can kind of get a little bit of an idea if you take a look at the rest of the Masterpiece Maximals. I have no idea how this toy is engineered. It looks like it's going to be crazy, so I'm actually really looking forward to it. The other masterpiece is the repaint we talked about. They announced the first announcement of this event. Nucleon Quest Super Convoy is heading to MPG. Now, this is actually a really cool piece to do, because like Nucleon Quest Super Convoy is one of those repaints that gets like uttered in whispers, but ultimately gets forgotten about because it's a Black Optimus repaint that is not an evil clone, nor is it any doppelganger, any evil side of Optimus. It's not even a Decepticon. This is a Black Optimus who is an Autobot and a good guy, and that's very rare. See, the history, the lineage of the Black Convoy repaint starts with Lio Convoy in Beast Wars 2nd, and then that color scheme, the original black with metallic teal, that moved on to become Black Convoy in 2000, and then Nucleon Quest came around in 2001, adapted the red windshields, but mostly just kind of made him his own vibe, and it hits a little bit different than your standard Scourge. I'm actually kind of a fan of this. Not that I'm going to spend that kind of money on a repaint of a masterpiece, but I do think it looks really cool. And it does the thing black repaints do, which is make everything way more solid looking than they were in the standard colors. Here's the standard Convoy, and it is Convoy in this iteration. It is designed to be Convoy, not Jinrai. And it does look pretty good here. And then base mode. Again, this is where like the solid colors really play to what's going on. That is a much more solid looking base mode than we have seen, than like this, especially compared to the masterpiece Jinrai. It's just something about that unified color scheme that just makes it hit different. And even like a weird cobbled together like base mode like this looks way more solid, looks nicer. Same for the vehicle. The vehicle looks really, really cool like this. It's just neat. Now, obviously, this was probably very expected. It's Jinrai. You've only got one repaint you're going to get out of it. But it's cool that they're doing it. I'm surprised they announced it so soon, because Jinrai just came out. People are just now getting it. But it does look really neat. Okay. Moving on to the second big reveal of the event, that Macross 7 crossover that they've been teasing for Synergenics. We now have production prototype of it. It is Basara Prime, based off of the main character from Macross 7, rather than his Valkyrie, which actually surprises me. That's where the guitar thing comes in, because yes, this is an Optimus Prime rocking a guitar. Interesting, that, isn't it? So the design itself does look cool. There are elements to it that kind of strike Valkyrie, like the intakes on the shoulders, some of the swept back horns on the head. But the truth is, this is kind of its own beast. This is just Optimus Prime kind of being Optimus Prime, but he's going to turn into a Valkyrie. It's weird. Now, I guess it tends to make sense a little bit. That's kind of what some of Takara's 40th anniversary stuff has been doing. That's your Rathalos, that's your Liger. It's Optimus Prime cosplaying his other things, and this kind of plays into it, except it seems like his design is mostly original. I think the vehicle mode might look similar to the matching Valkyrie, but not the robot mode, certainly. I do like little details in the guitar, like the little Matrix shells. Did you catch that? Neat little piece. Once we go toward the legs, you start seeing how he actually transforms. You can see the wings folded up around the legs, which is telling me that even though this might look very Macross in vehicle mode, it is not going to transform the way a standard Valkyrie does, which is actually kind of cool. It's a bit of a breath of fresh air on that one. You can actually see it on the back. Yeah, see the you can see the nose cone folded up on the back there. So yes, we know he is absolutely turning into a jet. It's very rare for Optimus Prime to have a jet alt mode, and now we're getting another one. It is just a neat idea for a figure. I'm really surprised it has this much character to it as a gray proto. I am really looking forward to it getting colored in. For those who do not know, the main mech from Macross 7 is red. So he's going to fit right in. It's probably why they picked Macross 7 over any of the more traditional ones. I'm still shocked they didn't do anything Jetfire with this kind of collaboration, but maybe if this does well, we might get to see that. Point being, interesting. It's interesting and weird, and I kind of like it. Missing Link made an appearance to show off the upcoming releases. So for starters, we have, Sunstreaker, who is still looking pretty good. Again, always worth noting, this is the very first Transformer ever designed. Like, specifically the first one designed for the Car Robots line that spun off from Diaclone. And speaking of, his Diaclone version, Corden, is represented as well. They're both looking pretty good for what they're doing. And they also showed off the little Diaclone partners that they come with. They both come with a driver. And the canopy does open up so you can put the driver in. So you get a neat little bit of play value out of these too. I think it's cool that they actually reinstated that driver figure for the sake of these releases. But that wasn't the only missing link to make an appearance. Behold, reveal number 3. The first colored prototype for Arcee. This is so huge for them to be able to do. Remember, Arcee never had a G1 toy. We know there was a prototype. We've seen it. But that prototype was not finished, nor was it meant to transform. So we never really got to see what it actually would have looked like. So here we have the closest approximation, and there's very few photos of it. Considering it's a major reveal, I'm actually stunned there's barely any photos of it. So here's the good close-up I could find. And you can see it's not quite what the G1 prototype was. The G1 prototype did not have the wheels pointed forward off the shoulders. And it had just little, like very feminine round arms sticking out the side. These have noticeable kibble stuck to the sides to accommodate the transformation. And that's kind of where I get a little bit iffy about how this toy is coming together. Because, while, yeah, there's definitely a G1 aesthetic going on, and it's staying very true to what the prototype looked like. As much as it can. Remember, as I said, the G1 prototype Arcee was not done. It couldn't transform. It's just concept stuff. So getting it as close as they could, it still has to have the functionality to transform that the original didn't account for. That's where we're coming in here. So it is slightly different than how it was, but a lot of it is the same, right down to those super weird shapes of the legs. The only thing that gave me a little bit of a pause is from a really bad quality photo, but it shows the backside of the toy. And that absolutely looks like a modern piece of shell kibble. Very thin shell kibble that looks like it forms the backside of her vehicle mode. I'm not sure I am enjoying that. That gives me a little bit of pause. The thing with this, I love that Missing Link provides them the chance to go back and do brand new G1 toys for characters who never had G1 toys. And I think it's a fantastic opportunity for a lot of the G1s that got skipped over, like DevCon. I think if it takes off huge, we could even get to the point of let's do something crazy like the Unicron. But I feel like the core to this is it has to feel like a G1 toy with modern articulation. The transformation experience should still be very rooted in how the toys worked in Generation 1. And G1 had very, very little of this kind of shell hanging off the back transformation. You know, like a little bit of cup, but that's just a canopy that fell over his head and shoulders. And even that was way thicker than what this looks like. So I have a little bit of concern about how this toy is going to actually turn out. I'm not sure it's going to hit the feel of G1. But it's still nice that they're doing something as close as they can get to the original. I still kind of think they could have figured out some way of putting the wheels on the backside to make it a little bit more accurate. But, you know, I'm arguing against the decisions of some of the best toy engineers on the planet. So I know nothing. The next up was Adamas Machina, showing off the upcoming Rodimus in really, really good quality photos. This thing still looks sick. This still looks absolutely incredible. I am so excited. This is coming out next month, and I cannot wait to drop the money on this thing. This has looked so good. It's just so ludicrously detailed, both in sculpt, in paint, in everything. This is just... I waited for years for them to actually get around to doing IDW Rodimus, and when they do, it's absolutely insane. Nuts. A little bit of a better shot. Again, no one got a really good close-up of him, you know? Like, he's kind of downcast because of this pose. Like, I wanted to see, like, face. I wanted to see, like, a more neutral pose. Like, this is a cool pose, but it's not really good for showing off a toy and seeing what it looks like. Now, that said, I'm going to refer back to the wide shot again, because here you can kind of get the start of, like, scale for these. The tables themselves here are the same height. What is not the same height is the back shelf. But if you look at Rodimus and you look over at the Masterpiece toys, you start to get some semblance of how they scale. And keep in mind, Rodimus is in a very squat pose with his legs very low, whereas the Beast Wars toys in the background are standing straight up. This is a much bigger toy than I expected. I thought this was going to be like a super dense, highly highly detailed figure. Like you're going for quality when it comes to the price point, not like mass. You know, I thought it'd be like Voyager sized. Oh, no. This is MP scale. This is like a whole unique scale thing here. I'm excited for that. And then you see the other one on the table. Yeah, kind of obvious. We have our very first look at Adamas Machina Predaking. Oh boy, here we go. No shock, it looks absolutely insane. So it is doing the Combiner War thing of using the thighs of the robots for the arms, a Rampage and Dive Bomb, to actually create the biceps, but it's doing it in a far more solid way. You know, there's very little division in the forearms, and the thighs themselves look like they are sculpted to come together in a way that the Combiner War ones didn't, which creates a far more solid look. It's actually much more clever engineering for that. And yeah, it just looks so good. He looks so good. The details, the exaggerations on it. Oh my god. Yeah, here's a closer look at the arm. Here's Rampage rather. Yeah, jeez, the sculpt detail is really cool. You can see how stylized it is. Like, it's almost as if they took the style of IDW Rodimus and applied it to Predaking. So it's not like smooth organic. If you've never seen G1 Predaking's toy, Razor Claw, or I keep wanting to say Razor Claw, Rampage's face actually has kind of a roundness to it in beast mode because he's supposed to be a tiger. This does not look like a tiger. It just doesn't. So I'm actually kind of surprised. Like, you can tell they are, you know, substantially stylized, you know, and they look good. It looks real good. Here we have the legs. So we got Headstrong and Tantrum. Huge, humongous feet. It's like no stability problems on this guy at all, which is pretty good considering, you know, he's going to have a big wing pack. He's, you know, a very large combiner typically. This kind of seems like it's going to be like standard combiner scale though from what I saw of it, it's hard to tell exactly how big this thing is going to end up being. We need really good comparison shots. And the only thing we can compare it to right now is Adamas, Machina, Rodimus, because it's the only toy it's been photographed next to. But look at this. Now I can say Razor Claw. Razor Claw looks awesome here. The head sculpt looks awesome. I love this. We originally thought this was just going to be some like Call of the Primitives based Predaking, like that super well animated version of the character. No. It's doing its own thing and it looks amazing. Here's the weapon loadout if you want that. Everyone gets their guns, and then there's not one but two swords. They look fantastic. I don't know why the pommel of one of them looks like Gridman's sword, but it does. Cannons included too. He's got firepower. And then we get to the individual stuff. We don't have like prototype images of like them separated other than the demo pictures that they had. They look pretty good together. I'm actually really surprised at what stood out to me here amongst this batch was Dive Bomb, because the wings are so huge on Dive Bomb and the body of the beast mode is so small. You know, like it actually looks like it's trying to hit bird proportions. Like Dive Bomb traditionally is just a big block of plastic with a couple wings stuck to it. You know, it's not the most graceful looking bird, but this is actually striving to give him a little bit more of an actual bird silhouette, which is kind of nice to see. So when the original prototype image was shown, the one with like all the gold flashes and everything, I was trying to figure out how do these work. My big question was, how exactly do these work? And we now have the answer. Razor Claw is just huge. Razor Claw is just absolutely gigantic. This is where they kind of feel like 4 Deluxes and a Commander, but instead of the Commander being bulked out with a whole bunch of additional parts, he's just Commander sized. You can see that he can wear the feet, and I assume the hands plugged into there as well as like big armor chunks of some sort. Little bit odd, but I will accept it. The things that I noticed from here, aside from just, Razor Claw is massive, which is how they're getting a lot of the engineering in for this. Can't really tell where the thighs for Predaking go. I haven't figured that one out. But I'm looking at Tantrum. And his stubby little legs. I'm genuinely wondering if those legs are mistransformed, because he's just so stumpy. He looks so stumpy and dumpy in proportion. I can't take him seriously. It looks like Headstrong on the other side actually does have like proper knees and thighs. Like it. So we will see. Need better pictures than this, but it gives us such a good idea of what we can expect. I mean, it looks like it's going to be insane. Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's an absolutely gorgeous piece. I'm really looking forward to getting the color prototype shown off and the individuals, because like I think once this is in color, that's when they're going to do a lot of the really good looks at it, and we're going to see how those individual bots really shook out. So that is the T-Spark event. Tons of new stuff announced and really huge deal stuff. This is just how Takara does things. Just like, hey, show up to this place. No online teases or anything. We're just going to show you all this stuff. We're just going to dump a brand new prototype on you. We're just going to show you, like what a modern G1 Arcee looks like. Just out of nowhere. But this is the part where you get to participate by letting me know in the comments below what you are looking forward to the most, or what you think of some of the new reveals. The Nucleon quest, the Arcee, the Predaking, obviously. Or just, whatever you feel like. Just let me know in the comments below. And as always, I will see you next time.
You've been waiting a long time, haven't you? But the wait's almost over. You're about to meet the brightest star in the universe. We're going to make an impact.